All right, let's talk about it. How do you actually build a career in AI? It feels like a total gold rush right now, and it seems like everyone is scrambling to figure out where they belong. So, let's cut through all the hype and lay out a real map for you.
I mean, the opportunities are just massive. You can be building the core AI models themselves or creating the next killer app that uses them. But with all the buzzwords flying around, it is so easy to get overwhelmed. The trick here isn't trying to learn everything. It's about figuring out exactly where you fit into this whole new world.
So, to make sense of all this chaos, we're going to use a really simple but super powerful framework. Think of it as our map. Believe it or not, we can actually sort pretty much every single job in AI into just 3 main categories. It's a clear way to see where you might fit in.
And here they are. You've got the builders who are creating the core technology. Then you have the makers who use that tech to build actual products. And finally, the orchestrators who bring AI strategies into businesses. Let's kick things off by meeting the builders.
The builders. These are the deep tech experts. They're the ones working on the fundamental models, the algorithms, the whole infrastructure that is powering this entire revolution. As you can imagine, these roles are super technical and in ridiculously high demand.
Okay, first up, and this is probably the most in-demand role in all of tech right now, the machine learning engineer, or MLE. These are the folks who can take a theoretical AI model out of a research paper and turn it into a real, functioning product that can handle millions of users.
Now, the key word you got to remember here is production. An MLE isn't just tinkering with models in a lab. They are building the industrial strength engine that can serve all those users without even breaking a sweat. For any software engineers out there wondering, how do I get in on this? This is often your most direct and, most profitable path.
Now, let's talk about a totally different kind of builder, the AI research scientist. So, if the MLE is building the V8 engine for today's high-performance car, the research scientist, they're in a secret lab inventing the warp drive for tomorrow's spaceship.
Yeah, this is the absolute bleeding edge. These roles, and they often require a master's or a PhD, are all about pushing the limits of what we think is possible, creating brand new architectures, publishing groundbreaking papers, and always asking, what if? This is for the people driven by pure discovery.
All right, so we've got the builders, the people creating this foundational tech. But what happens next? Who actually uses this incredible stuff to solve problems for real people? Well, that's where the makers and the orchestrators come in.
And this right here, this is probably the single fastest growing way to get into AI today. Because here's the big secret. You do not have to build a new language model from the ground up. Instead, you can become an AI-focused software developer.
This role is all about one word, integration. You're taking something incredibly powerful, like a GPT-4, hooking into it through an API, and then building a beautiful, useful app around it. Think about a tool like Notion AI, right? They didn't go and build their own language model. No way. They just brilliantly wove one into their existing product to give their users superpowers. That is the work of an AI-focused developer.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit to the orchestrator role. And this is where we meet the generative AI specialist. A better name for them might just be translator, because they're bridging that gap between the raw technology and what a business actually needs.
And check out the skills here. Yeah, there's prompt engineering, but look, communication, business analysis, those are just as vital. These are the folks who can walk into a company, spot a problem, and just go, you know what? I can use AI to fix that for you. They create so much value and often without writing a single line of what we'd call traditional code.
All right, so we've got our map, right? The deep tech builders, the product-focused makers, and the business-savvy orchestrators. But knowing your type is just part one. The big question is, how do you actually make money doing this? So let's break down the 4 main ways you can earn.
You've got a few main paths. First, there's the classic route, a stable, super high-paying job. Then there's going out on your own, the freedom of freelancing and consulting where you become a specialized problem solver. Or, if you're really ambitious, you can build your very own AI-first product. And hey, if you love teaching, there's a huge market for creating content and education. Every path's got a different mix of risk and reward.
Let's just jump right into the most direct path, getting a job. And yeah, that number is not a typo. The demand for top-tier builder talent, like a senior machine learning engineer at a big tech company, it's just so insane that salaries are going through the absolute roof. This is easily the lowest risk, highest immediate reward way into this field.
Now, for anyone thinking about freelancing, listen up, because this is probably the most important piece of advice you'll get. The market is drowning in AI generalists.
The real money is in being a specialist. So you're not just an AI consultant. No. You are the person who builds AI chatbots for dental offices. See the difference? That's how you stand out and how you charge a premium. And this whole idea applies to building products and creating content too. Don't try to compete with OpenAI. Build a specific AI tool for screenwriters. You'll win.
Whew, okay. That was a lot. We've gone through the roles, the ways to earn a living. Now let's bring it all home. Let's figure out where you fit in all this. We're just going to ask a couple of quick questions to help you figure it out.
So, first question, and be really honest with yourself here. Do you actually love the deep, nerdy stuff? Like, does the idea of getting lost in linear algebra, designing these complex systems, and really understanding how models work, does that sound kind of fun to you? If your brain just lit up and you were like, yes, that is me, then your path is pretty clear. You're a builder. Going after a role like a machine learning engineer, it's a tough road, for sure. It's going to require some serious study, but the payoff in both salary and job security is just incredible.
But hey, what if you're thinking, no, not really. What if what really gets you excited is building something cool that people can use, or solving a tricky business problem in a new, clever way? What if you just want to make someone's life easier with technology?
Well, if that sounds more like you, then congratulations. You're a maker or an orchestrator. Your path is probably becoming an AI-focused developer, a product manager, or a consultant. And this is often the fastest way to become an entrepreneur or a really highly valued strategic player in a company.
So let's wrap this all up with the single most important takeaway. It's really fun to play with all these AI tools, right? But the most reliable, surefire way to build a career out of this is to either build the tools, like a builder, or integrate them to solve real-world business problems, like a maker or an orchestrator. So I guess the only question left for you is, which one are you going to be?